Right, hello everyone, and welcome to this wonderful webinar. I am Prem Patel. I'm the lead consultant at the Loyalty People, and I'm delighted to host and moderate this webinar today, which will be focused all around how emotional connections outshine points and perks. And we've got two wonderful panelists. We've got Gabby from who's based in Dubai at the moment, and we have Niba in South Africa from African Bank, and I'm delighted to be here to host this and start the conversation. So, why don't we start with the panelists giving us a little brief background, 30 seconds or 60 seconds each on yourselves and really why are you in the loyalty space? So let's start with you, Gabby.
Thanks very much, Prem. Thanks for having us here. It's a pleasure. Hello, everybody. So my name is Gabby Kool. I'm a Dutch national, and as Prem mentioned, resident here in Dubai. 54 years old. Love road biking in my free time, both in the desert and the mountains. Half of my life been married to my better half, Chantal. Got 4 kids. They are now all working or studying either in the US or the Netherlands. And over the last couple of decades, I lived and worked in the Netherlands, Singapore, China, UK, Spain, Latvia, Italy, Switzerland, and now here in the UAE. So a lot of nice experiences working and living around the world. Always worked in C-level loyalty marketing related roles, sometimes also as a shareholder, sometimes as the program operator, sometimes on the marketing services side. And outside work, I love spending my time in volunteer roles in the sports administration world, whereby I currently serve as the president of the International Korfball Federation, which is a federation recognized by the International Olympic Committee, and whereby our sport is the oldest mixed team sport in the world, played in 74 countries, and having a secret ambition to try to get that on the Olympic Games one day. So my purpose in life, both professionally and personally, is to help build real connections. So business-wise, that means helping brands, creating lasting loyalty with customers. And in my private life, it means helping sport empower young people through inclusivity and growth. So that's a short introduction of myself, Prem. Pleasure.
Wow, Gabby, fabulous. Yeah, lots there to unpick at one point, but let's pass it on to Niba.
Prem, I think you should have started with me, eh?
I should have started with you. You're right.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Niba Ene. I'm the head of loyalty and rewards at African Bank. The rewards program name is Audacious Rewards. Based in South Africa, married to a young, beautiful wife, Serena. And we've got a couple of children. And by profession, I'm a biokineticist. And I've had the opportunity to be a strength and conditioning coach for a number of national teams. The Springbok women's rugby team. I'm one of the founder members of the national team. And I had the honor and the privilege of taking them to 2 World Cups. And also I was the strength and conditioning coach for the Sevens women's rugby team in Dubai in 2009. And we won a bronze medal at that World Cup. And then also I've been the strength and conditioning coach for Netball South Africa for a couple of seasons. And also I'm also an extraordinary lecturer at the University of Pretoria. So your question might be, what's a man deep in sport, academia, in corporate, how did he land in loyalty? But the most important thing is that I always say that biokinetics, it's about movement, it's about behavioral science. And it teaches you a lot of things because in loyalty, you're trying to change behaviors in a positive manner. And in biokinetics, one of the things is that you never treat the body, you treat the human being. So I always got a saying that don't treat the hamstring, treat the individual holistically. Because the issues arise from misalignment of the back and so forth. And then also you're trying to nudge a person to encourage the person to take a positive lifestyle. And you need to speak to what is important to them. I always say to someone, if you ask someone, if you want a person to drink, to stop drinking, and they're also smoking, don't tell them to stop smoking. Help them with what they want to do. And that is the whole element about behavioral science. So customer loyalty is to empower people to make the right positive behaviors. And that's what I love about being in loyalty.
Yeah. Love that. I love that analogy. You know, when you tell people to do something, they don't do it. But when you actually help them navigate their world into their ambition and where they need to go, it helps. So thank you both for that brief introduction. And just for myself, I've been in loyalty 30 odd years, worked in 3 different continents with some global brands, developed, designed new loyalty schemes and optimized existing schemes, and really specialize in personalization and gamification in my current world. So that's really where I am. And I am now going to kickstart with my first question, because this is all about human connection, and loyalty is all about human connection. So Gabby, I want to start with you. Look, right now, everyone's talking about loyalty, every sector, hospitality, retail, banking, you name it, everyone's talking loyalty, and it's becoming more important today, more than ever before. What's your perspective on that? What's happening?
Yeah, it's an exciting time at the moment, because I think if you look at the form of loyalty programs, it's evolving very rapidly. And the latest statistic that I saw somewhere was that about 61% of all companies are running now a loyalty program. And I believe that loyalty and also the points coming with that, they will only increase in importance. We had last week, we had the pleasure to speak to quite a well-known author also in loyalty marketing, Evert de Boer. Some of the listeners may also know him. He was in our Logic Town Hall meeting, and he was basically presenting his latest book, which was called The Currency Effect. And so the way that he described it, I thought it was kind of a good way to look at it. On one hand side, you got the member effect, which is kind of what kind of is all about why these programs started in the first place. And then there's now the currency effect next to that, which is kind of also growing in importance. So if I play a little bit on the discussion we had with him there, because I thought it was maybe a nice setting for today. So at the heart of what we're doing, loyalty has always been about the member effect. So we give customers a reason to come back more often, stay longer, spend more, whatever it might be. And then the well-run programs, they increase the share of wallet or reduce churn, or they build emotional connection because members feel recognized and rewarded for that relationship. And that has always been the foundation for every strong loyalty program, I think, over the last couple of decades. Now, what Everett then also described was that currency effect, and that was taking that a step further. And the statistic that he mentioned there, which somehow I knew, but kind of it was still interesting to hear it kind of again. So at the moment, there's an estimated $300 billion worth of new loyalty points issued every year. So that would actually make it the 3rd world's largest currency after the dollar and the euro. So if you want to talk about kind of the growth and importance of our industry, well, probably that number captures it all, right? $300 billion worth of new points issued every year. Now, if that's managed well, then this currency can create really unique benefits for both brands and members, from either differentiated pricing and opaque offers, but also to collateralizing value and attracting partners. You saw during the COVID period what the airlines did with how they actually used the whole loyalty business as collateral in all kind of financial kind of setups to try to basically pull them through that period. So kind of when we look at loyalty, we see it enormously growing. We think it's a very mature industry right now. And also we see our kind of modest role in there as trying to help people make their currency, make it truly meaningful by turning then these moments of redemptions into very memorable experiences. Because in the end, points only matter if they create moments which customers really value and remember. So yeah, that's a little bit how we look at the world of loyalty and why we think it's such an exciting space.
Yeah, so that's a big number, and thanks for sharing that stat. It's amazing. It's growing at a phenomenal rate. So let me flick a question over to you, Niba, because it is there's so much going on in loyalty, and it feels like from a customer point of view, and if I put my customer head on, it's always like it's take, take, take. I don't feel I'm getting a lot back. It's always companies want something from me as a shopper, as as a customer. So we seem to have lost this art of giving in this really fast-paced world right now. So have we lost that art right now?
Yes, I think to a great extent. I think sometimes in our wanting to drive economical value, sometimes we lose the human side of things, you know. And at the essence of it, I believe loyalty is about making sure that make a person feels that they matter. And the people that make people feel matter, you get much more out of them. You know, and one of the things I've done over the years is that I'm an avid collector of suits in the past. I've been an avid collector of suits. So what I've done now over the years is that I'll give away like 5 to 6 of my suits, you know, so that people can use them for job interviews. Some will use them for church, and some will just use for the metric dance. Then what has that done for me is that I want to give back so that I'm not always a taker. And clothes give dignity to people. I mean, your posture improves, your sense of feeling about yourself actually enhances. And then what is done for someone like me, what it does is forced me to do is that it has forced me to buy better quality clothes because I'm mindful
Right.
that I want to give someone something of high quality of meaning. You know, it's changed my behavior on how I buy clothes and where I buy my clothes and the kind of brands I choose because I want to give someone a good brand or a well-tailored suit. So, and that is how the whole approach, how we should approach loyalty. We must ask ourselves, how can we make customers
Mm.
feel valued?
Okay.
And I can tell you that the minute someone feels valued, they will actually return and do business with you. And that for me is we've lost that. And that sometimes comes from maybe pressures from economical perspective and so forth. But those who do that right, I think they've got a long success in it. Because what if they realize it's only
Yeah.
commercial? What they do is the customer just moves. The minute they see, oh, there's a sale there, they move. They keep moving around and so forth. But if they feel that they truly matter, they'll support you through the upturn and the downturn.
Yeah. Great point. That's an absolute great point. You're right. Customers are in a sort of driving seat right now because they have so much choice. But I'm intrigued with your collection of suits now. So we'll have to go into that at another time. But tell me, it feels like you like giving back. But so when was the last time you gave or received something really meaningful?
The most meaningful thing I've received, and ordinarily, is it's love. You know, that is the greatest meaning for me. When I come back home every day to see the love my family gives to me and to see how happy my children are, that makes
Okay.
me love life much more. It makes me give me a purpose to wake up every morning, to be loyal to my spouse, to be loyal to my children. How am I loyal to my children? I work harder so that I can give them a better life.
Mm.
And what we forget sometimes, loyalty or getting back is not necessarily material. It's about that sense of what is that person looking for. So I've always got a saying at work. I always say, you can tell me the truth, you can tell me anything. It is okay. Because at least I know that my wife and my children love me.
Wow, you got us right here. You got us right here with that one. Hey, how about you, Gabby? Do you have anything to add to that in terms of, the last time you sort of received or gave something meaningful?
So look, if we look at it in kind of our work context, kind of, we usually like to describe it, and when we sit with our clients, that the easiest and gift to give to your members is like, let's give them an Amazon gift card, because okay, Amazon got everything right, and then they can redeem for whatever they want. We usually call that a bit of the lazy gift kind of risk, in that sense, the lazy friend risk, right? Because the example we like to give, if my best friend who has known me for, let's say, 30 years, 40 years, shows up at my whatever 50th birthday and says, Gabby, I've known you so long, I've been thinking what basically symbolizes kind of how well we know each other, and then he would give me like that Amazon gift card. It basically is a bit of a lazy friend kind of approach, right? So when we are thinking about how to look after our clients' best customers, we take that responsibility super serious, and it comes down to, like Neba's point earlier, like, you have to understand deeply who you're dealing with, so the essence of that community, so that you can come up with the right set of gifts that resonate. And so don't fall in the trap of being a lazy friend and just put a bunch of gift cards in there and think your job is done. That's kind of where we try to make do our best thinking, let's say.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, we're in this world of everything's fast, everything's convenient, and it just feels easy, right? Just to do what you were saying with a gift card. But look, Gabby, let's stick with you for a little while. So look, when you're giving, it creates really strong connections, right? We've talked about that just now. But it feels like the world in retail, in any sort of loyalty space, is really moving down this road of personalization really quickly, and these personalized connections start creating more engagement and more customer stickiness. But what's your opinion on how, I suppose, how are you creating more personalized connections in your world with your customers?
Yeah, I think it builds a little bit on what we were just discussing. So kind of the connections that you try to start to build, you need to start with providing relevance in the context of whatever relationship you're having with your customers, or the ones that you want to build. And what always amazes me, like, if you look at loyalty programs, there are very significant budgets being spent in total on that whole proposition, from the tech to the rewards to the people running it, the agencies around it. But in essence, about 70 to 80% of that budget that's being spent is usually for the rewards that are basically going in that program. And it always surprised me how little research is often done by program owners to deeply understand and describe the DNA of their community. And I think one of the reasons why Neba is so successful with the Audacious Rewards program is that I think they've done an amazing job in really deeply understanding who are our members, what is important to them, what is the DNA of that community. So we always have many discussions with our clients, like, okay, tell us more. What are the sub elements sitting in there? What makes your member base now unique? What kind of rewards do you think that they would love? What are the brands that they love? How much kind of can they collect with the points or miles that they earn over a certain amount of time? Because in the end, there's a lot of kind of course, buzzwords we can throw at everything that's going on in loyalty, but the reward, what people get out of it, is still often the most important thing. Why people bother to sign up or engage with you, it needs to be something that engages them, right? So we like to call it the art of, like, or the reward science. Like, what is the achievability of reward within a certain time period? Choice, how wide is the choice that you want to offer that base? Don't make the mistake to throw the kitchen sink at the members and hope that they will find that fantastic gift among 1.2 million products that you offer in your entire catalog. Think deeply about the essence that will resonate with your members, and then don't try to overdo it. Just have great offers, great content, and bring it alive in an emotive way. And I think Neba's got a fantastic example. I'm not sure if you're going to talk about it, Neba, later on, but what you guys did with the fuel kind of gift card quite recently, and how you brought it alive with the storytelling and the marketing around it, took something as mundane as a gift card voucher or like for fuel in a very meaningful way, right? So it's kind of, it needs to be relevant, but you also need to bring it alive in a proper way.
Okay. Well, look, I think let's segue into that, because that sounds like a brilliant example to talk about. So, Neba, expand on this. What happened there?
So, Prem, so what you've done as a bank, we've said everything we do, we must tell a story. People remember stories. People resonate with stories. People find themselves in a story. So that is quite important. And that's why storytelling is an art. So what we did is that we took one of the popular series in South Africa called Uzalo. It's got millions of followers. So we said, look, as they must do a 3-minute video for us, whereby in a lived experience, because we sponsor what you call the Joyous Celebration. It's a concert. So you got someone who's in a car, they go to a concert, they enjoy themselves. And when they return home, they realize that actually, I need to purchase fuel. And I've spent all my money in a concert, as you could imagine, buying all the lovely things that you can buy in a concert to make sure that it's got the right energy and to make sure that the throat is well oiled. Then you've run out of funds. Now, what do? In your moment of need, you can turn to Audacious Rewards, because it's got good rewards you can count on. So you can convert those points into fuel. So it shows them converting the points to fuel, going into the shop, going to the fueling station, then filling up, and also walking into the store and purchasing. Now, what you've done there is that, A, you've spoken about the proposition in a nice way. You've showed people how to use the benefit. And also, you've also told them the benefit that you've introduced. And also, you've linked it to an important element in their life, which is like going to a concert for a certain target market. And also what you've used characters that they watch on a day-to-day. So the believability of it, of that influencer, because now you've got a subtle introduced an influencer to influence their behaviors. To say, listen, I'm also doing that.
Yeah. You know, you make it sound really easy, right? To get loyalty right. I mean, that is such a simple story, and it's such a simple one that you think, hey, why are people not doing this all the time? Or why are companies not thinking about this in a simple way? But let me ask you, but working with Gabby, it's not always easy to structure and organize the right loyalty program. So you obviously have a good collaboration between the two of you and your two organizations to make this happen. What's gone wrong along the way? Let's talk about that, because nobody really talks about some of the challenges that we may have faced as we got to your Audacious Rewards, and you've got this Utopia program. But what sort of went wrong along the way? Maybe one or two things, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, we've gained a lot of success, but it's through failures that you really, really learn and test your character. So now the interesting thing is that we've got Logic, international, best of class, tick.
Gabby's really happy now.
We're based in South Africa, all right? Now, Logic doesn't have an in-depth understandably, of South Africa. Okay. Understandably of the context. So now, for some time, we had to say, come to South Africa, Gabby. Feel South Africa so that you can understand what our people are going through. Because you deal with people in Dubai, you deal with people in Switzerland. Therefore, some of the benefits that you curate for us, they're speaking for people of a certain class and a certain identity. And we missed that for some time. But when we found ourselves, and then they got it, the penny dropped. And that is when you see not incremental value, we saw exponential value, because they understood what South Africa stands for. What does Audacious Rewards stand for? what does African Bank stand for?
Right.
You know, and that is the key with it. It's always good to get the best in the business, but also induct them to the ethos of your organization, to the ethos of your country. And sometimes we think, okay, I've got this value proposition. It's worked in a certain market. It's going to work in that other market, especially in diverse markets. And that's one of the learnings that we had up front.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. Great story. Great story.
Yeah.
Gabby, anything to add to that?
No, it's a beautiful example, right? And Neba is 100% kind of right, because it's kind of, it's again, it's understanding the bank in this case, what it stands for, the clientele, that community that they represent, and what will resonate. And of course, you need to be humble enough in your own. We know that loyalty works on a global scale with a lot of kind of different mechanics, but the local level where you then can go deeper and really touch people's heart. Basically, if you don't listen carefully, then you might miss something extremely important. And so, I think that has been a very exciting journey, and I think also part of the success of the program, because we're dealing here not also with people in the program that necessarily have got also within the South African kind of market with the highest kind of level of income in there. So also these rewards, they need to resonate. So that's it comes back to understanding that community, which I think African Bank and Neba and under his leadership, the team there, they are extremely good at that part, and that makes a job fun and interesting and rewarding.
Excellent. Thank you. Neba, I want to just unpick Audacious Rewards a little bit more, because the more I'm hearing about it, the more exciting I'm getting about the rewards program, because it feels so simple and powerful. So, what are the values of Audacious Rewards? And because to me it feels like you've taken some courageous steps, some different steps, but what are the values? And then how did you actually find that courage to do something that really stands out? And what's it, if you've got any other examples to share of real standout impacts of the program, we'd love to hear it.
Thank you very much, Prem. So I think the most important thing is that to understand someone, you must understand where they come from. So that's quite important. And you've got to understand where African Bank comes from. So to paint the picture, it is 1964. A couple of Black businessmen come together. They realize they're not part of the South African financial economy. They don't have money to build their own businesses. The government of the day is not supporting them in giving them collateral and capital. They decide they're going to come together and they are going to put money together. And with the thinking that if every South African can put R1, they can make a lot of money, can bring into millions. To their surprise, they only collected 70 Rand, which is less than $1. Right? Now, then they took 10 years to collect that money and to be in a position to build a bank. 10 years. And then in 1975, they then opened the first African Bank branch. Now that is audacity, that is believing, Now, then the ethos was, we're going to be the bank for the people, right? For the people and serving the people. For the people who dare to dream for a better life for themselves. And then that is when the name called Audacious Rewards comes. Because you've got the audacity. Now, Prem and Gabby, the challenge with the name is that you must live up to the name. With any name.
Absolutely.
So everything that you do must be audacious. Now, if I told you that the shirt I'm wearing, it's an African Bank shirt, fashionable banking, I wear the same shirt to work, and I can wear the same shirt to a wedding. And now our rewards program points are audacious. Now, then they said, what are you going to do to show that you're audacious? Now, listen to me carefully now, Prem. The program launches February 2023. Right? Then in 2024, it wins best short-term campaign in the world.
Within a year.
Program in year in advance, best short-term loyalty program in the campaign. In South Africa, we then win best redesigned rewards program. That is a challenger bank. So we're chasing the pack. Then this year, in 2 years in existence, we win the best loyalty team in the world globally at the International Loyalty Awards. Now, would we have scripted better? No. But what made us believe is that audacity is the spirit of our founder members.
All right. So tell me, what makes your team the best loyalty team?
I always say there's a word I like to use. There's 2 words. One, people say I mustn't use. The other one, they say I can use. One is we like lions. Or the other word is that we're snipers.
Okay.
We zone on something, we focus, we block out all the noise. And we chase what you're going for. Now, if Prem, you've watched the lion hunt, a lion will lie down and watch the antelope. It will watch it for a couple of times, patience, zooming in, crafting how they're going to go about it. When it stands up for the chase, another weak animal comes across. It doesn't go for that animal. It still maintains the focus of what they went through and to go that get the prey. Most people, what they do is that they get distracted. They go for the other prey that has just come through. No, we're like an assassin. We keep on the target. We take a deep breath, we're patient, and we make sure that with our shot, that one shot, you must hit the bullseye.
Yeah. I love the analogies coming through in this conversation. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So look, let me talk to you, Gabby, a little bit. So loyalty and the growth of loyalty becomes noise in a lot of places, right? Obviously, you know, African Bank have got a standout program, but how do you keep creativity front of mind? And sort of what examples do you have of sort of disruptive creativity that maybe you can share that sort of has been really stand out?
Yeah, I think if we take kind of maybe a larger view outside our own kind of also even programs where we're involved in, or like because I think the key thing for us is to A, observe what are great initiatives happening in the world, and B, bring that then to our own discussions and brainstorming sessions and say, okay, is this useful for us? What do we make of it? And can we use it for our own thinking, right? So if I can think of 2 examples that I like a lot, what are happening right now. The first one is it's probably under the umbrella of loyalty as a media. So again, you try to understand the community that you're dealing with, and then you almost think like a publisher or an advertiser. What kind of content and brand partnerships do you want to put in front of that audience, thinking loyalty as a media? So the example that jumps to mind there is Connective Media by United Airlines with their Mileage Plus program. I think these guys, it's a great program. Who really gets it in my view. So they are turning what is arguably, of course, already a very successful frequent flyer program into a pure massive marketing machine. So they use all this rich data of the members that they have, and then they come up with the right brand content, and they offer that through all their customer touch points, pre-boarding on the flight, during the flight, on the in-flight entertainment seats, post-flight. So if I'm sitting in seat 17A, I might see different content than Prem, you sit in probably seat 1A, right? Where you would be sitting kind of in your case. So kind of, but they're using that kind of on the back of their loyalty program with the loyalty as a media kind of part. So I think we will see a lot of, especially with the larger programs, to try to replicate what they are doing. And the other program that I also kind of like what they are doing as an example of creativity and really getting their member community very well is the program Build Rewards in the US. So they created a very unique member community. So their member community basically is people who are renting houses or apartments. And then they let them earn points through rent payments via the credit card without extra fees. And then they try to build very original rewards and experiences around it through deep partnerships. So to Neba's example, this is a lion that did not go after 7 different gazelles lying in there. They figured out, okay, my renters community is like a younger Gen Z type, urban type community. What do they really like? Well, they like, in their case, what I have seen in the program, they like travel, they like kind of fitness. That was the second pillar, and they like dining/experiences. So then, what they did in their program, they built very deep partnership models around these 3 pillars, magnified it in their communication. And so they on the travel side, they allow their members to convert their points to 15 major airline programs and hotel programs. That's block number 1. Then on the fitness, they've got partnerships with SoulCycle for fitness perks, so that taps really into that lifestyle of their urban millennial renter audience. They got also collaborations with museums and dining groups and entertainments. So I think what they did well, they really asked themselves, okay, what is the essence of my renter demographic? What is their biggest pain point? Well, it's paying the rent. They built an earn proposition around that. And then they did travel, fitness experiences, and they didn't copy models. They didn't fall in the trap of making a standard cashback gift card model. They went these 3 pillars, deep partnerships. And so I thought that was a really good example of a creative approach, and they've been massively successful with it as well. So focus
Amazing.
counts.
Thank you. Thanks for those 2 examples, Gabby. Very, very useful. Neba, give me one example of a bit of disruptive creativity. I mean, you've given us a few, but just give us one more from African Bank for Audacious Rewards.
Yeah, so Prem, African Bank focuses on the low-income segment. So that is our segment. We focused on that because we want to grow wealth with them. We want them to become wealthier, right, as they get up. So what we've done is that, and savings is a big problem in South Africa. The savings culture is poor. And also most people, when they've got money, it doesn't last them the whole month. After 10 days, it's over. So you never get to save, you never invest. So one of the things that we've said is that we are going to give you the ability to convert your points into a tax-free savings investment. Now, what you're doing is that you're truly creating wealth by actually transacting. And we've had a significant take-up because now people are starting to realize, actually, this is a nice way for wealth creation. Now, and you're also dealing with a systemic challenge in society within that market where savings is an issue. And then the tax law allows you to have a certain savings every year. So every year you just put in tax-free savings from that perspective. Right. So that is, what is your higher purpose? And we're about upliftment of our people from abject poverty and making them be able to save culture.
Yeah, I love that. You've made your loyalty program extremely useful and relevant, for that audience. So fabulous. So thank you for sharing that. So look, as we start sort of thinking about, let's talk about you two, because look, you obviously have got a lot of experience in the loyalty world. You've been there, a number of years. But what do you love, or why do you love being in sort of the customer loyalty space? What's that 1 or 2 important drivers? Because I've come out of a world where I was working for a big grocery retailer in the UK, and we were trying to change our customers' behavior from liking the loyalty program to loving the loyalty program. And that's a big shift, right? When you go from like to love, right? So, and I don't know if we'd ever got there in the end. It was always a bit of a moving target. But why do you love being in customer loyalty, Gabby?
Yeah, what I love about our industry is that kind of, I always describe it as a beautiful mix of, there's tech in there, there's data in there, there's marketing there, there's partnerships in there, there's a financial component in there. So you need to be quite well versed on many levels. So it's kind of intellectually super interesting. And then also in our case, we have the joy and pleasure to one day talk to a large bank and their kind of community, and the next day we're talking to a fast moving consumer goods kind of brand, and we need to help them with their kind of community, and then the next day we talk and we work with an airline kind of company there. So intellectually it's super interesting, and there's certain commonalities, but then you have to go deep to, well, the discussion that we had in the last kind of hour here on to understand that community and then bring that kind of alive. So I think it's a multi-layered discipline that we find ourselves in. It's a growing kind of industry. So over the last 5 decades, it's kind of, you see it continue to grow. So in that sense, I that's the part that I personally love, being in this industry. And you tend to work with smart, fun people around the world, because somehow I don't know what it is. I don't know. I haven't gone to like many other conferences in other kind of industries, but
Right.
I know if you go to a loyalty marketing conference, they're generally fun, intelligent, good people out there. So it's a fun industry in that sense.
There you go. Good stuff. Thank you, Gabby. Never. What's keeping you there in the loyalty space? Why do you love it?
You know, it's the human connection. And one of the things, and also the behavioral science, because in essence, it's very difficult to change people's behavior. It's absolutely, all of us, including myself, I know it's unhealthy to eat a chocolate. But after this webcast, I'm going to have a chocolate.
Dark chocolate is good for you, right? So that's what I've been told. Right.
We know what we need to do.
Right.
But for some odd reason, we choose not to do what we know. And that is quite interesting. And I've got a saying that no human beings are the same.
True.
So now I then ask myself, what principle would I use? And this is what excites me, the behavioral science. I've got a principle which I use in everything I do. It's called the AIMS principle. AIMS. How do you make an assessment of something? How do you assess something? So you need data, and assess hard and also qualitative and quantitative. Then how do you intervene to what you've assessed? So which means your solutions. How are your solutions applicable? And you must think hard about your solutions. Then number 3, how do you monitor that the interventions that you put in place are actually yielding the intended results? And then the S is about specificity. How do I make sure that it's actually resonating to me as an individual? And that is very broad. You brought a number of sciences in one group around aims. And then it starts to say, wow, what do I need to change behavior? And it's difficult. It is absolutely difficult. Yes, Gabby said there's 61% of loyalty programs, but I can tell you there's a handful of successful ones.
You're right.
And the challenge is to be one of those successful ones. And that is our endeavor.
Okay. Hey, listen, I'm with you. You're absolutely right. You know, for the sort of tens of other loyalty schemes that come out there, there's only one that's out there. So I love the AIMS, process. That's brilliant. I've got one myself, which is the 3 C's, right? So I'll share that. I always see loyalty as people have choices. We all like, it's all about taking a chance. So people like sometimes taking the chance, and then it's all about change, right? Because it's an evolutionary process. I mean, loyalty is just changing daily. One thing before we sort of close out on our sort of brilliant conversation, I'm sure we could carry on, Fraser. We haven't touched really on AI that much, and I just want to get a quick 30 seconds, 60 seconds. AI is driving so much change in our world, especially in the loyalty space. Where do you see AI within the next 12 months within your world?
Okay. Yeah. So if I look at our world, which of course is very much around kind of having the right incentives in place for the community. So where we have, let's say we have a database with maybe 10 million products that we can bring to the benefit of our clients, right? Of the members. To the earlier point, building the right kind of catalog, the depth, the breadth that resonates in there. We are building out right now as we speak AI type solutions that, based on the DNA of the community that we spend a lot of time on articulating, then coming up with the recommended kind of depth and breadth of such a catalog, and then it goes into our curation and our human reviews and our discussion with our clients. So we see an element of AI in there to bring our own secret sauce in our own way, utilizing AI in there. So we're spending a lot of time and effort on that space, Prem.
Excellent. Thanks, Gabby. Never.
For me, it's in the personalization, and that goes to my S, right, of aims.
Right.
The specificity. I think there, for me, if you can get it right with AI, how do you become personal? How do you speak to each person? And I think that's a big, big drive. A lot of people speak about, no, our program is personalized, but I've given 3 cohorts, you know,
Yeah.
Based on the gender, the age, and where they live, you know, and some will go deeper and deeper. But it's that curated individuality to almost get to that kind of level, but without losing that human touch.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, good point. Excellent point. Thank you both for that. So look, final sort of closing remarks on this one. I'm sure we could have talked for a long time, but just to close off, what's the one critical piece of advice or guidance you would both give to anyone aspiring to follow a career in customer loyalty? What would it be?
Okay. The kind of the one tip we could give to our younger selves, or basically more importantly, actually to the people entering the field, right? So look, I think it comes down to what we discussed today a lot. Try to deeply understand who you're dealing with, that you can build the right respect and insights around the community that you are targeting or working with in your particular loyalty initiative. And then really can spend a lot of time on deeply understanding that community and bring that alive through creative partnerships and memorable experiences. But maybe on a personal side, also don't forget to have a lot of fun along the way. Celebrate your successes all the time with your team. Life is super short. Spend it on things which matter and with people who inspire you. And hopefully you're in a lucky position to surround yourself with both your colleagues and your clients that you work with. In the end, you can usually influence these things a little bit, right? There's things to choose in life. So create your own luck, but make sure that kind of it's not, we work super hard, all of us, right? But make sure it's fun along the way.
Excellent. Great piece of advice. Thanks, Gabby. Never.
Prem, people say curiosity killed the cat. It's not true. You gotta be curious.
Okay.
And I call that, and the baseline, it's called having a learner mindset. Read everything. Be curious.
Yeah.
Listen. Speak to people. Just consume. Speak to the people that have been before. And if you remain curious, you'll disrupt yourself. Yeah. And the more you disrupt yourself, I always say, like a snake. If a snake, you've got to shed your skin. So if you do that, I think success. And I always like to say, surely, then goodness and mercy will follow you.
Perfect. Love that. I love the animal analogies and the examples here. I love that. So, it's one of those things you've got to anyone coming into this sort of field right now, because it is so disruptive, you can't be sitting back being complacent, because every day is a new day, and you've got to treat it like it's your first day, right? That's generally how I go in and talk to some of my clients, and they've got to stop overthinking, because overthinking wastes a lot of time. You've got to act, you've got to move and stop going into this sort of analysis paralysis. Although, in our world, analysis is important, and that's where probably AI can help. So, look, I want to thank you both. It was a great conversation. We talked about how emotional connections outshine perks, and points, because it's such an important change happening in our world. So thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Neba, for being with us today. We will reach out to the audience, and hopefully we can get some feedback and any questions coming back, once people have seen what we've got here today. But, on that note, I wish you both, a great rest of day, and we shall talk soon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Prem.
Thank you very much, Neba. Thank you very much, Prem, for having us. It was a pleasure.